Be careful, don't drop it.
Hello everyone, wishing you all good health and peace in life. Sometimes, happiness is not found in grand things, but in the smallest gestures. For Dee and Huyen, that moment came when Maya smiled. It was a smile so pure, so full of innocence, that every hardship, every sleepless night, every silent sacrifice suddenly made sense. In that fleeting instant, Dee and Huyen understood. All the struggles, the pain, and the storms they had endured were worth it because they had given Maya not only a home, but also a reason to smile. And in her smile, they found their own peace, their own joy, and the strength to keep moving forward together. The room was filled with the soft glow of the evening sun, golden light streaming through the wooden window that Dee had built with his own hands. Huyen sat quietly, sewing a small patch on Maya's school dress, while Dee mended a chair nearby. Their days were simple, their struggles heavy, but in that moment there was peace. Maya, sitting on the floor with her little notebook, suddenly looked up. She had written her name for the very first time, letters uneven and shaky, but full of life. Holding it up proudly, she said, "Mom, Uncle Dee, look, I can write." Huyen's eyes filled with tears as she rushed to hug her daughter. Dee leaned closer, his rough hands trembling as he touched the paper gently, as though it were more precious than gold. And then, Maya smiled. It was not just any smile, it was the pure, innocent smile of a child who felt safe, loved, and full of dreams. A smile that spoke of new beginnings, of a future brighter than the past. At that very instant, Dee and Huyen exchanged a glance. No words were needed. That one smile told them everything. Every long night of worry, every day of hard labor, every sacrifice they had made, it was all worth it. Dee thought of the countless hours he had spent lifting wood, building walls, and planting vegetables so Maya would never go hungry. Huyen remembered the sleepless nights, the fear, the tears she had hidden from her daughter. Yet, looking at Maya now, with her shining eyes and proud little smile, both of them felt a warmth deep in their hearts. "This," Huyen whispered, her voice trembling with emotion, "this is why we endured everything." Dee nodded, his voice low but steady. "Yes, Huyen, this is what it means to truly live for her, for that smile." The room grew quiet again, filled not with silence but with love. The setting sun painted the sky in shades of red and gold, as if blessing their small home. And in that humble wooden house, with nothing but love to hold them together, they discovered the truth. Happiness is not in what we own, but in the smiles we protect, the dreams we nurture, and the hearts we choose to love as our own. That evening, the little family gathered around their wooden table. The meal was simple, just a pot of rice, a few boiled vegetables, and a small bowl of fish stew that Dee had caught in the nearby stream. Yet, as the warm steam rose and filled the room, it felt like a feast. Maya sat between Dee and Huyen, swinging her legs with excitement. She proudly placed her notebook on the table, right beside the bowls, as if it were the most important dish of all. "Today," she said with a sparkle in her eyes, "I am a student." Huyen laughed softly, her heart swelling with pride. She spooned rice into Maya's bowl, whispering, "Yes, my little one, and soon you will read stories, write letters, and chase every dream you wish for." Dee poured water into their cups, his rough hands steady. He looked at Maya with quiet tenderness. "You must study hard, Maya. Every word you learn will be a light guiding your future." As they began to eat, the sound of rain started to patter softly on the wooden roof. Instead of fear or sorrow, the sound brought comfort now. The roof did not leak, the walls stood strong, and inside they were safe. Maya took a bite of fish, and then, without warning, wrapped her small arms around Dee's waist. "Uncle Dee," she said with her mouth full, "when I grow up, I will build you a big house, bigger than this." Dee froze for a moment, his eyes stinging. Slowly, he placed his hand on her head and smiled. "This house is already big enough, Maya, because it is filled with your laughter." Huyen looked at them both, her tears silently falling. She knew life would still be difficult. There would be more winters to endure, more struggles ahead. But sitting there, watching her daughter's joy and the kindness in Dee's eyes, she felt something she had not felt in years. Certainty. Certainty that they were no longer alone, that together they could face anything. The rain continued to fall outside, steady and gentle, as if the heavens themselves were blessing their little wooden home. And in that moment, over a simple meal, Dee, Huyen, and Maya celebrated not just food or shelter, but the greatest gift of all, the family they had, created through love and sacrifice. The next week brought a new kind of joy. It was Maya's first time standing in front of her classmates to recite a short poem. Her teacher had taught. The small village school was humble, with old wooden desks and a blackboard worn from years of use. But to Maya it felt like a palace of dreams. Dee and Huyen walked hand in hand to the school that morning, their hearts beating nervously as if they were the ones about to perform. They stood quietly at the back of the classroom, not wanting to disturb the children, but Maya spotted them immediately. Her little face lit up, and her smile stretched from ear to ear. "Good morning, teacher," the children chorused, their voices filling the room. Then it was Maya's turn. She stepped forward, clutching her small notebook tightly in her hands. Her voice trembled at first, but when her eyes met Dee and Huyen's, she found her courage. Slowly, carefully, she began to recite the poem, each word clear and strong. The class clapped, and the teacher nodded proudly, but the real applause came from Dee and Huyen's hearts. Huyen's eyes glistened with tears as she whispered, "She did it. She really did it." Dee said nothing, but his smile spoke for him. To him, this moment was worth every drop of sweat, every sleepless night, every sacrifice. When the class ended, Maya rushed into their arms. "Mom, Uncle Dee, did you hear me? I wasn't scared at all. You were wonderful," Huyen said, kissing her forehead. "You were brave," Dee added, lifting her into his arms. "Braver than any of us." Maya giggled, her laughter echoing in the little schoolyard. That sound was like music, chasing away every shadow of their past. As they walked home, the sun broke through the clouds, bathing the path in golden light. Dee carried Maya on his shoulders, while Huyen walked beside them, her hand resting gently on Dee's arm. In that moment, they were no longer three people struggling to survive. They were a family united, not by blood, but by love, courage, and the promise of a brighter future. Winter crept slowly into the village. The air turned crisp, the wind sharper, and the trees outside the little wooden house stood bare against the pale sky. For Huyen, winter had always been a season of worry-thin blankets, leaky roofs, and cold nights filled with fear that her daughter would fall ill. But this year was different. Dee had worked tirelessly to prepare their new home. The roof was sealed tight, the bamboo walls reinforced, and a small stove now stood in the corner, glowing with warmth. At night, the little fire cast golden light across the room, and for the first time in many years, Huyen and Maya did not shiver under their blankets. One evening, as the first frost appeared on the window, Maya sat curled up in Dee's lap, her small hands clutching a steaming cup of warm tea. She gazed at the fire with wonder. "Uncle Dee," she whispered, "the fire is like a star that came down from the sky to live with us." Dee chuckled softly, ruffling her hair. "Yes, Maya, and just like the stars, this fire will keep shining for you." Huyen, who was sewing a patch on one of Maya's old shirts, looked up and smiled. Her eyes softened as she watched Dee's gentle care for her daughter. In that glow of firelight, she realized how far they had come from nights of hunger and despair to nights filled with warmth and laughter. Later that night, as Maya drifted to sleep between them, Huyen whispered, "Thank you, Dee. Because of you, winter no longer feels like an enemy. It feels like a season we can survive together." Dee turned to her, his voice quiet but steady. "I didn't do it alone. We built this together. Your strength, Maya's smile, and my hands. This is our home now." Outside, the cold wind howled through the trees, but inside their little wooden house, there was warmth, safety, and love. For the first time, winter was no longer a threat. It was simply another chapter in their story of survival, courage, and family. And when Maya stirred in her sleep, a faint smile on her lips, both Dee and Huyen knew every sacrifice, every hardship, had been worth it. The year's end arrived quietly in the village. There were no fireworks, no grand feasts, just the sound of crickets outside and the distant ringing of a church bell, welcoming the new year. Inside their little wooden house, the three of them sat close around the glowing fire, their breaths forming small clouds in the cold night air. Maya sat cross-legged on the floor, her hands cupped around a small candle Dee had given her. "It's New Year, right?" she asked, her eyes shining in the flickering light. "Yes, my little one," Huyen replied, brushing a strand of hair from Maya's forehead. "Tonight is the start of a new chapter." Maya closed her eyes tightly, whispering a wish. When she opened them again, she looked up at Dee and Huyen with the innocence of a child. "I wished that we can always stay together, and that one day I will have a desk to study on, just like the other children." Huyen's throat tightened. She pulled Maya into her arms, kissing her gently. "One day soon, you will have not just a desk, but everything you need to learn and grow." Dee reached into his bag and quietly placed a small wooden box in front of Maya. Inside was a simple notebook and a set of pencils, wrapped in brown paper. "It's not a desk yet," Dee said softly, "but it's a beginning. Write your dreams in here, Maya. One day, they will all come true." Maya's face lit up with joy as she hugged the notebook to her chest. "Thank you, Uncle Dee," she exclaimed, her smile brighter than the fire itself. The three of them sat in silence for a while, listening to the soft crackle of the firewood. Huyen leaned against Dee's shoulder, her eyes heavy with emotion. "I never thought we would have such a night. Safe, warm, and full of hope," she whispered. Dee looked at the two of them, Huyen with her quiet strength, Maya with her boundless light, and felt a peace he had never known before. "This is only the beginning," he said. "Next year, we will build more. Not just walls and roofs, but dreams, step by step." Outside, the cold wind swept through the fields, but inside their little home, time seemed to pause. The candle flickered in Maya's hands, carrying her wish into the night sky. And for the first time in a long time, the future no longer felt uncertain, it felt possible.